All right. Hello, Contractor Pros, and welcome to the Battle Plan Marketing Podcast, episode number 15. Okay, today we have a special guest on the show, Meaghan Likes, CPA from Likes Accounting. Meaghan's superpower is taking people's fears out of their finances. She owns 5 businesses in Northern California, her favorite of which is her window cleaning business. And while you wouldn't guess it from her personality, Meaghan's day job is working as a CPA. Meaghan's passion is educating and empowering other business owners across the world by teaching them how to find financial freedom in their own lives. She is a known disruptor in the accounting industry, and her claim to fame is showing small business owners how to do their own bookkeeping correctly in less than 1 hour per month using QuickBooks Online. No accounting knowledge or experience is required. She's a proud Rotarian who volunteers an average of 10 hours per week and teaches smarter ways to make money, save money, and inspire you to give back in meaningful ways. Some fun facts about Meaghan is she's the 3rd fastest female window cleaner in the world. She spends about 20 weeks a year traveling. She's an avid gardener and a proud mom to 7 chickens and 1 dog. So without further ado, let's give a big welcome to Meaghan Likes.
Welcome to the Battle Plan Marketing Podcast for Contractors. Get actionable advice and tactics on how to grow your home service company, plus interviews with industry experts dropping value bombs in marketing, sales, and operations. And now, let's power up your home service biz with your host, Mark Ambrose of Battle Plan Marketing.
Hi, Meaghan. Welcome to the show. Thanks for sharing your time and expertise with us today. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, who you do it for, and what your company's doing today.
Yes. Hi, Mark. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here. My name is Meaghan Likes. I'm a CPA based in Northern California, and I have my hand in quite a few different pots. I do a little bit of everything, but my specialty is educating and empowering small business owners to know their numbers so that they can live more financially rewarding lives and they can just get more joy from their business. I started helping small business owners with bookkeeping and taxes almost 20 years ago. And common denominator I found was people have a lot of fear around money, a lot of fear around finances. They are really, really good in terms of the field that they work in, but the business side of things maybe doesn't come naturally. And very specifically to the business side of things, like marketing is fun and sexy. And, sales is something you can learn and skill that I feel like people get excited about. But finances and money is something that most people avoid. It's worse than going to the dentist. And so I started coaching my own husband through his small business. And he does not have a traditional background in business. He barely graduated high school. He wanted to be a professional skateboarder, and he runs a really successful window cleaning company now. And so I just spent a lot of time coaching him about understanding his bills and payroll and income and how they're all related and how you can set goals around those things. And his confidence as a business owner and his joy that he got from his business just grew exponentially when we got over the fear and over the hurdles. And he realized, I can do this. Like, I can understand this. This is doable. I don't need to outsource this to somebody or because I'm the wife, I don't have to have my wife do all of that stuff for me. My business will actually be better if I'm able to do some of it myself. So I started a business called Bookkeeping Academy Online, and that's what I do now. I teach business owners how to know their numbers. I teach them how to understand how much money they're making and spending and where it's going, and maybe how to make better decisions around that. I also have a full service accounting firm called Likes Accounting Company, where if you're still really allergic to it, you really don't want to do it, you can outsource that to my team. And that's me in a nutshell. I love business. I'm a business geek and I love money. I mean, who doesn't love money, right?
Well, that's awesome. So both a done for you service and a done with you service.
Or a DIY kind of teaching you.
Yeah, teaching them.
I say that, any business owner running less than $1 million in gross receipts can do their own bookkeeping in less than an hour a month. And that's without any formal training, without any accounting principles. We can use tools and software and leverage technology now to really automate those processes. And
I agree.
I encourage business owners to at least start by doing it because you'll save money.
Right.
Like nobody will care about your business money like you do. Nobody.
Right.
Ever.
And price things right. So when you got together with your husband and started working the boats together, was he pricing his services correctly in the beginning, or did you help him get to the right pricing?
Oh, no. I mean, it probably took 10 years. Right?
Wow.
To understand like what is your value and to understand what do you want the profit to be and to understand like how you scale with employees and how you scale when you stop being a technician, when you stop producing work yourself and manage people.
Right.
It took a long time. And I feel like every business, every hire we make, every new campaign we run, we have to run the numbers first to make sure that our pricing is still in line, that we can actually support and fund that. Money really does drive a lot of our decisions in business. And that's not from a greedy perspective. I think there's a lot of shame around saying like, we want a profitable business or we want it, we want to be financially healthy or sound. And for us, we're incredibly philanthropic and we're very proud of the companies we run. We're very proud of our role as employers and the way we're able to give back to the community, one through our employees and helping their families and helping them, right?
Absolutely.
Meet their goals, but also in giving back to our community. So we've really kind of owned that as, I don't know if we're stewards or if we're models but our goal is that to be a sound business person is good business for the world.
Absolutely. Yeah. People's livelihood depend on the business owner knowing, running a good, solid, financially stable company.
Absolutely.
So you work with a lot of contractors, correct, Meaghan?
Yeah. So I specialize in field services. So home service, field service, mostly field service, kind of branching into the home service space. But when I say field service, what I mean is you've been running your business from a truck or multiple trucks or cars, doesn't really matter. But there's maybe not like a home office that's got a lot of people working in it. And so having to leverage technology to be mobile so that, you can dispatch and you can optimize routes and you can know what the day looks like and where everybody's headed and what they're doing.
Right.
So the markets that I tend to serve the most is window cleaning, my primary industry, gutter cleaning, pressure washing, lawn care, quite a bit in lawn care, maid service, and then kind of heading into the plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and roofing spaces. That's kind of, and then in my head, I've fantasized about pool cleaning and carpet cleaning. Those should be very similar to my industry,
right?
But I have not done too much in those industries yet. But what I like is we can learn a lot from other industries. So in window cleaning, for example, we're a lot of one-off sales, and we have learned so much from maid service. And then it turns out lawn care is essentially maid service outside. So lawn care has really helped us, except we don't have to be seasonal in California with window cleaning like lawn care does in the rest of the world,
right?
Or rest of the US, really. And then, you can learn things from HVAC in terms of service agreements. We can learn things from pest control in terms of sales. I love picking and choosing these really nicely refined business models in an industry that's not my own and then bringing it into my industry and sharing it with others.
Nice.
I love that.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. Learn from one, cross over to the other, and share that information with the business owners that you're doing business with.
Well, and we're talking to business owners, right? So I encourage you as a business owner to talk to somebody in a different industry. Like, don't do it the way everybody's doing it in your industry. Like, you can learn from maid service. My husband was the guy that would show up to a house that he'd cleaned the windows at 2 months before, and he'd like, they're still clean. I'll see you again in 2 months. And we learned from maid service, no. You clean. Like, it's called a maintenance clean. Like, people will pay to clean. That's okay.
They will.
And I would have never had that language for him
without the others
to then use to his customers to educate them without having learned from another industry that is nothing like my industry, really. But we can learn from each other.
Absolutely. Totally agree. What would you say from the contractors that you have worked for or with that their biggest problem is when it comes to bookkeeping and accounting? What's their number one issue? Or is it the entire bookkeeping industry?
They avoid it. They don't do it. They stick their head in the sand and they just hope that it's not.
They avoid it.
They just hope that it'll go away. It'll work itself out. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. Well, I don't have to do it until tax time. And I reject all of those ideas. I understand that it's not fun.
I agree.
I understand that it's not sexy. I understand that it's not something you're ever going to wake up in the morning and be like, I want to go do bookkeeping. Now, I do that, but I'm weird. I know that. But it's so important. And it can ease all of the stress that you're feeling. Like if you are feeling anxious or if you are feeling uncertain or if you are feeling like you don't understand where it's going or you're working your tail off and you have nothing to show for it, I will tell you that bookkeeping and knowing your numbers is the answer. That is the solution. And it's never going to get better and it's never going to get easier. And you cannot outsell yourself out of this problem. You have to face it. You have to fix it. And your numbers are the answer.
I agree. And it's just new words, right? It's just like if you're in you're a mechanic, there's push rods and pistons and heads. And If you're a plumber, there's the names of all your tools and stuff. And those were difficult maybe in the beginning, but you're running a business and the business is 100% or whatever, 90% about numbers, about the math. Where I feel for these guys and girls out there is because they stay away from the numbers, away from the math, away from the bookkeeping, usually not pricing their services correctly. So I see these guys are out there working their fannies off and they think they have made a profit because there's money still in the account at the end of the month, maybe. But they're not pricing themselves correctly. They're not pricing direct or indirect costs, right? They're usually pricing the job costs, but they forget about insurance and trucks and all that stuff. Do you find that to be true as well? And you've got a deeper touch into, lots of more companies on the number side than I do.
In my experience, when I'm meeting with a home service business owner, or as you're calling them, a contractor, they have priced based on their competition 90% of the time, which I think is absolute baloney.
Right.
Like that does not matter.
Right.
I don't care if you're the most expensive or the cheapest. Your neighbor's pricing has nothing to do with you.
Right.
I encourage people to price based on working their way backwards. So how much money, and I like to start here, how much money do you need to make to feel financially free? And that's very different than how much money do you want to make, right? It makes you really look hard at what are your expenses as a family? What are your expenses as an individual? What are your goals as a family and as an individual? And I like to call that, and other people call it too, I obviously didn't coin this, but your financial freedom metric. Like what is the number at the end of the day that would make you and your family feel financially free and you could breathe when it came to your monthly expenses and goals and wishes? And then you work backwards from that, right? So that should be the profit amount plus the owner's salary that you're able to pull off of your business.
Right.
So then you have to start adding to that. You've got to add all those expenses that you just said. And you used big, scary words there, Mark, like indirect costs or fixed costs or cost of goods sold. Like those are big, scary accounting terms. But what we mean to say is the hard costs that you are on the hook for every month at the first of the month, whether you make any money or not, right? Those are your hard costs.
Right.
And then we've got things like variable costs, which are different than cost of goods sold. And I am breaking my golden rule. I am saying accounting terms and I never say accounting terms because I want your ears to stay on and your eyes to not glaze over. And I can't see you if you're listening to this, but it costs money to be in business.
Right.
And you deserve to have a good business. Yeah. You deserve to spend good money on your business, particularly on your people and on your brand and on the service that you offer. And so you should add in all of those things that you need to offer a really good service.
Right.
Then you need to mark it up because you probably did the math wrong. Because let's be real, most people are terrible at math. You need to mark it up a little bit. You come up with a total number. Then you need to figure out, okay, well, like how many jobs do I need to do? How long are they going to take me? How many man hours? There is some math involved to pricing appropriately. But I encourage you to go through the exercise. I will warn you that there are no shortcuts.
Exactly, especially since...
And calling comps in your area is not an appropriate pricing strategy. That has nothing to do with you, your family, or your business.
80, 90% of business go out of business. So are you pricing yourself based on people who are heading for the exit door already?
Go ahead.
Not a wise move.
Oh my gosh. It reminds me of the story when I would have clients come in my office. In my former life, I was a tax accountant, corporate tax accountant. I know, super boring, not fun, cocktail party stuff. But people would come to my office and they'd be like, I just don't understand. My refund, it was less than my neighbor Joe's. And I was like, you realize your tax return has nothing to do with neighbor Joe's tax return. And it has nothing to do with me doing a bad tax return. Like taxes are very different than other things, right?
Yes.
So that's pretty funny. Like I feel that way about pricing. I feel like pricing is just very specific to you and your family.
Your desired salary and benefits are unique. Everything's unique. I had a client just a couple of weeks ago tell me he was getting a price book from another consultant. And I was like, no, you can't do that. His prices are different than your prices. His expenses are different than yours. His goals are different than yours. What he wants to get paid is different than what you and your family wants, etc. The benefits that you want to pay out to you.
Yeah. And the scary part is when you get to the end of all that math, you're going to have like a man hour rate, right? You're going to have your charge rate.
Right.
And you're going to look at that number and you're going to be like, nobody will pay that.
Right.
No one will pay that. And I will say, well, that there is that's the challenge. You figuring out your value, how to articulate your value, how to sell your value, and how to find customers that appreciate your value. And I feel like that's what you do, Mark, right? Like that's the secret and art of marketing, is helping somebody figure out, okay, this is exactly what I need to charge. And now truly that's the easy part, because that's a number. Numbers don't lie. That's like a hard fact.
Right.
Then you just need to figure out how to sell it, like how to translate that down. And for us, when we added health insurance and dental insurance and life insurance and disability insurance and 401k plans, and we set up a career ladder that said a window cleaner in our company could make $69,000 a year plus bonuses, suddenly it was way easier for me to sell to my customers. Because a customer that doesn't value those things for my staff,
right,
I don't want to work for them.
No.
They could go hire Joe Schmo with a bucket down the street.
Exactly.
Like, this is my core principle as a business owner. This is what I get joy out of, is providing a living wage, providing nice trucks and brand new equipment and fun morale boosting culture. Like, that is important to me. And if you, as my potential customer, do not value those things, that's okay. Like, I understand that. I appreciate that, but we're not going to waste either of our time.
Exactly.
And so for me, adding in all those expenses and seeing them from that perspective helps me translate that value onto my customers, because it turns out they're amazing humans and they want those things for my staff too.
Right.
And now they brag about my company. Well, do you know my window cleaner, he offers a retirement plan for his 20-year-olds? Like,
nice.
How cool is that?
Exactly. Well said. Very well said.
So, yeah.
So how did they get to fixing it, Meaghan? And I'm sorry, I took them down the path of terms and numbers and stuff. And I know you didn't want to do that.
No, that's okay. That's totally fine.
So this is their problem.
I hope you're still listening. I hope Mark did not scare you off. If he did, come back. He's a cool guy.
Hope we didn't scare you away. All right, there's a solution at the end of the rainbow here. And it's easier than you think it is.
Mm.
So what is the solution? Let's take a look at your service, Meaghan, where you teach them how to do that. Like, how long is it going to, if I'm the home service contractor? To me, this is, French, Latin, whatever, and I'm scared of it. And it feels like...
Je parle français.
What's that?
Je parle français. I speak French.
It feels like it's going to take forever to learn. So tell me, how long, what do I got to dedicate time-wise to get this figured out and get a hold of my numbers so my business is under control?
All right, I'm going to take you back to the first question that you started to ask, and you started to say, where's the next step? What's the first step?
Right. What's the next step?
For me, the first step is choose a number. One number. I don't care what it is, and I want you to go figure it out, and I want you to game it. So the most obvious number would be revenue. I need you to own your revenue number. Like, how much is it per man hour? How much is it per day? How much is it per crew? How much is it per week? And I need you to get super comfortable with that number. And if you're sitting there at the end of the week or the end of 2 weeks or the end of the month and you're like, gosh, there's no money in the bank, or I didn't pay myself, or I can't breathe.
Right.
Then your revenue it is what it is, right? So now you got to choose another number. Okay, well, is it my cost of labor that's screwing up? Is it my net profit percentage that's screwing up? Most simply, easiest fix is to increase your prices. Increase your prices. Just do it. Like, if you don't want to do all the math to figure out what the right number is, just keep increasing your prices, right? So I like to say, start where you are and choose one number. And the easiest one is revenue, because it's the sexiest of all the numbers in our business. How much money we make is the one we talk about at the bar, right? We talk about, oh, I have a 7-figure fixed business. I have an 8-figure business. I've got a 10, whatever it is. That is the number you're going to talk about. So I need you to know it intimately, and you need to know it by hour.
Right.
And charge rate is very different than your hourly average of sales a day, because how much money do we make when we have a technician driving to a job? $0, right? And we can't really teleport from the shop to the job yet, right?
Right.
If you have a big service area and you're driving all over town, that's your charge rate is not the solid number, right? How much did you make per day with that technician?
Right.
And we could talk about a million different metrics in your business, but dialing in your pricing, dialing in your sales is a great starting point.
Right.
And then as you dial in the other things, those big scary words that we're not going to talk about on the show, but as you dial in those other big scary words, your profit gets fixed naturally. And everything is a byproduct of your sales. Everything trickles down from your sales.
Right.
So if your sales are, if you're underselling yourself against yourself, I always say start there. And if you're going to do anything after today's podcast, if you're going to learn anything from Mark and me today, go raise your prices. I guarantee you've experienced inflation in your business in the past 12 months. I guarantee your cost to do business has gone up significantly in the past 12 months. I also can almost guarantee you haven't even noticed. But that's coming out of your pocket. You need to translate it to also go to your customers' pocket, because your vendors are doing that.
Right.
Your landlords are doing that. Your banker is doing that. Like every person that you're paying has already raised their prices on you.
Right. That's good. Because even when they crunch the numbers, eventually they're going to need to raise their prices anyway. So start there.
Start there.
Even if you're shooting blind.
And here's the fun math. If you, let's say you're charging $100 per hour. Now, I am not recommending this. I had no idea what industry you're in. You might be a plumber. You might be a roofing contractor. You might be a window cleaner. You might be in maid service. And each of you have very different charge rates per hour, right? But let's say, just for ease of purpose, that you're charging $100 per man hour. And if you doubled that to $200 per man hour, right? And you lost 40% of your customers, you would still be making more.
I like that.
You would still be making more, 20% more. And this fear of losing customers, if you are paying your customers to go to work, you should be losing them. And I'm guessing, unless you've been living under a rock or you have like a superstar reputation, you're having a hard time recruiting right now. You're having a hard time staffing jobs. I don't know a single business in the home service that's having an easy time of recruiting.
Right.
So if you're having a hard time recruiting, why don't you just have less technicians and work for less people and make more money?
Right.
Like super simple, but it's also terrifying. And Mark, you mentioned something about like chasing money. And when they chase money, you're not going to be happy and you're not going to be in a line. It's just,
Right.
I feel like I just got on a soapbox.
No.
Sorry.
It's a very good soapbox. And you're right. I like that. Double your money, lose 40% of your business. You're still ahead.
20%.
And more importantly, now you're profitable.
Now you're profitable.
Bringing in sales is irrelevant if the numbers are wrong, right? So if you're not charging the right price, all the sales in the world isn't going to help you.
And you'll never outsell an unprofitable business. Like if your profit margin is not right, you will not outsell it. It will just get worse.
Right.
And for me personally, when I have people's livelihoods depending on the success of my company,
Exactly.
that is a lot of stress. Like
Exactly.
I have guys having babies and buying houses and buying boats, and I'm not going to fail them. Like that is really important to me.
Right.
So I better make sure it's priced sustainably and priced right.
I agree.
If I want to do that. So
they come to me, want to do more marketing, more advertising and stuff. And I always bring it back in the very beginning of working with the client is where are your numbers? Are your numbers right? Like are more sales or leads going to help you at all? Because they're not if your numbers are wrong.
Well, we could have a whole nother discussion.
Or if your sales process.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say we could have a whole nother discussion, which is way above my pay grade, but about like bringing in leads and then not having a sales process that would close those leads. I mean,
Right.
It's just, I reject all of those notions. Like fix what you have. Start where you are.
Yes. And those are the two biggest problems that I see, Meaghan, in small businesses is one, they don't have the numbers under control. They're not pricing right. They're not watching their numbers regularly. And then two is that sales process is usually lacking.
And they're wasting money.
And so they still want more leads, but they're not working the leads they currently have. So let's fix those two things and your business will just take off.
Absolutely.
Meaghan, if you don't mind, I'm going to interrupt and say you recommended a couple of books the last time you and I spoke, and I think they're great tools for our audience. So I'm going to bring them up if you don't mind. First would be Where Did the Money Go? From Ellen Rohr. So she starts to teach you how to read your financial statements, which are vital. And then from there, How Much Should I Charge? Also by Ellen Rohr. You can get both of these on Amazon or any bookstore. And she will take you through the journey of how to properly price your services.
I met Ellen. Well, I didn't meet her. I haven't met her. Ellen, I'm a huge fangirl, but I've not officially met her. But I was introduced to her by Tommy Mello, which is how you and I met, was through Tommy Mello's podcast.
Oh,
and
that's right.
Tommy Mello loves Ellen Moore, and she helped him with his book, The Home Service Millionaire.
Oh,
And she helped him come up with a Friday financial health check for his business.
nice.
And I love this theory of like taking something that's scary and semi-complex and boiling it down into like, here are the numbers you need to watch this week. And this is how it's supposed to go.
Right.
And Ellen's background is in plumbing. I think originally her tag name or pen name was The Plumber's Wife.
Yes.
So I loved her perspective about that industry. It's an amazing industry. And I know it's an industry that you appreciate and service too, Mark. So I want to give credit. Like, I didn't find Ellen on my own. Tommy Mello helped me out there. And he's got a great book out there too. It's funny how this world is kind of growing.
Yes, it was a good suggestion. And credit to Tommy Mello and Home Service Millionaire, I believe is the name of his podcast. Tommy Mello is the owner.
I think it's Home Service Expert.
Oh, you're right. Home Service
Expert. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Because listeners should go out and find his podcast. Tommy Mello is an awesome business person, created a monster garage door company, and has an awesome podcast with great guests. So you will learn, as I did. And that's how I found you. Could you talk about there's two books out, Profit First. This one's for Contractors by Sean Van Dyke. The original is Michael Malkowitz, I believe it is.
McCallowitz or M.
And that's more general for business. But I love this system, and I put it into play myself late last year. And I got to tell you, this is the first tax year. I don't care. I know my money's there. I'm not worried about paying taxes this year. And it's the first time in a really long time I can say that. And so can you touch on real quick how the Profit First system, and if you even recommend it to home service contractors out there?
Absolutely. And I highly recommend Profit First. I'm a very proud Profit First professional. The Profit First system is designed to play to your psychology as a business owner. So the idea is we work really hard to make money, and then we spend it just so frivolously and nonchalantly and casually. And so what Profit First does is it makes you go back to this feeling of, I worked really hard for that money. And once you have that like feeling of, this is my hard-earned money, and you have to actually decide at the beginning of each period how much you're willing of that hard-earned money to spend, it's amazing. Also, another thing I love about the Profit First method is he completely turned all traditional accounting principles on their head, which as a CPA, I'm a huge fan of because I hate traditional accounting models. So the traditional accounting formula is sales minus expenses equals profit.
Okay.
And Mike McCallowitz said, screw that. I can do algebra. And so Mike McCallowitz said sales minus profit equals expenses.
Right.
And the idea is if you take your profit first, and you save that and you squirrel it and you hide it, you will not overspend. You will do fine. And it's actually a little bit more complex than that. That's the simplified version.
Right.
But as you were describing, Mark, if you save for your taxes every time you earn $1 before you touch it or spend it, I love tax time because for me, it means bonuses.
Right.
Because I intentionally oversave personally. I don't give it to the IRS. I oversave in my savings account. I write my tax estimate payments every quarter.
Exactly.
And the extra bonus. I love tax time. Like it changed the psychology of it. Also,
you're totally right. I'm actually looking forward to, I'm doing my books this week.
Writing that check.
I'm looking forward to the accountant being done and telling me how much I'm getting back.
Yep. Well, and not even give it.
I've been paying quarterly, of course, but tax money is.
Yeah, you'll probably get some back. But I mean, as a business owner, I've kind of resigned myself to never getting a refund again. But you're also whatever's left in that tax account. Like you get, you're going to write a check this week for something, magic number that your accountant told you, and the rest is yours.
Right.
Because the beautiful thing about Profit First is next month it starts over. Next month it keeps accumulating. Next month it keeps growing.
Right.
The other thing for us, full disclosure, is we had cash flow problems the first many years in business. We struggled with figuring out how to invest in our growth and how to pay ourselves appropriately and how to price it. I mean, really, it's not like we had a secret weapon or had a better understanding than most. We went through the exact same struggles you are, maybe worse because my husband refused to use a computer or ever look at a spreadsheet or numbers ever.
Right.
So it was messy. It was hard. And what happened when we switched to Profit First is you're literally just saving you from yourself. You're like the squirrel storing your acorns all over the place.
Right.
And what happens, but you don't even realize it's happening, you start hoarding cash. Like when I give this talk publicly, I have this visual, and it's like, it used to be like we put money in the ATM and it would go out faster than we could put it in, right? Like that was the visual that I had about the money in our business.
Right.
And after Profit First, the visual that I give is it's like you're in your own bank safe and you've got stacks of cash and all of these piles. And this feeling you have when you're looking at all those stacks of cash. I mean, my husband and I, the first couple of years of Profit First, I'd come home from work and I'd be like, can I see the bank accounts again? Will you just show me the balances again? It was fun to get to stack cash.
It absolutely is.
So I encourage you to check it out. It's a really entertaining audiobook.
I agree. We have no affiliation of any kind. There'll be a link although that might be an affiliate link, so I take that back. But you don't have to click on it. You can just go to Amazon or your favorite bookstore. I'd probably get both of those books, Profit First for Contractors and Profit First from Michael, because I haven't read that one. I'm sure there's nuggets in there that Sean Van Dyke didn't share in the other one. So great stuff.
Well, and what I like is Mike has an amazing personality. So if you are still out in the field, or if you are in your truck a lot or car, not to say you have to drive trucks, maybe it's like a bike. I want my husband to have a bike in his route. Anyway, the audiobook is amazing. So it's really engaging. I promise he makes it fun. He makes it like understandable for you. He has been in your shoes. He has no ego, and he is very engaging. So Profit First by Mike McCallum or Profit First for Contractors by Sean Van Dyke. Both great recommendations.
Good stuff. Thank you, Meaghan. Let's get into a little fun stuff. What's your favorite part, Meaghan, would you say, of owning a business after all these years? What do you think your favorite part is?
I love working from anywhere. So I know it's COVID and I'm not supposed to be talking about the traveling, but in the past 3 weeks, I have worked from Cancun on a beach.
Cancun?
Most beautiful beach I've ever been on.
Nice.
I have worked from San Diego. Cancun, it was beautiful. It's so beautiful. San Diego, I was in San Diego for 5 days. And I am now staring out at the snowy mountains of Northern California in a little tiny town called Greenville.
Yeah.
And I love that. Like my first year in business, I picked up and I moved to France for the summer. And I had been like a corporate CPA working at a desk not a bad desk job, but it was a desk job, right? Like I sat all day and I literally crunched numbers on a calculator. That was my job. And now I still do a lot of number crunching, but I get to do it from wherever I want,
right,
however I want, whenever I want. And I love that part of being a self-employed.
I agree with that. I'm ready for COVID to end here, and I'm about to go on a long journey myself, I think. I think I'm going to roam around for a while. So does your husband get to join?
We call them walkabout.
A walkabout. I like it.
Yeah, a walkabout. Yes, a little bit of a source of contention. A lot harder to clean windows from France for the summer.
Yeah.
But it's actually been amazing for his business. So my husband is the classic technician mindset that loves cleaning windows. He loves his job. He's very proud of his job and he's very good at it. In fact, small bragging moment, I am married to the fastest window cleaner in the world from 2020, the World Cup champion, Beth Light. That is my husband.
I saw that.
And he loves it, right? Like he thinks that.
I saw somebody else in third place that I know.
Oh, yeah. And I am. That's right. And I'm the third fastest female window cleaner last year. We're actually headed to Orlando.
There's a video I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay.
There's a video online. What is it, the International Window Trade Show or something? And they must have had a contest. And I saw you and your husband standing there taking first and third place for fastest window cleaning people in the country. That's pretty amazing.
In the world, actually. So there's a World Cup that goes between Europe and the U.S.
Wow.
And my husband's name is on it for 2020. Full disclosure, he does not have the Guinness record for being the fastest window cleaner, but he was in that particular year.
Wow.
And so what we've had to do is kind of transition this mindset from like his love of his job to now his love is translating into leading and building and optimizing. And those things can absolutely be done from anywhere in the world.
Right.
My husband is not with me this week in the snowy mountains. He is building out some new lead tech training programs with his team. And he has a very defined goal because he's going to Orlando in 2 weeks and we're gearing up into a big training season where he's averaging, 3 technicians a week or whatever it is.
Nice.
But there have been other times when he can absolutely do that. But there's a lot of troubleshooting that has to go into we don't want to be absentee owners of our home service business.
Right.
We do not want to sell our home service business.
Right.
And we also, though, want to be able to travel and it not be very dependent on us. So that has driven a lot of wonderful decisions over the past 3 years in terms of how we could systematize and build out a model that is not dependent on my husband, but where he can still feel like he's engaged and he loves his role in his company.
Nice.
So yeah, it's not a perfect system, but we're working on it.
Well, it's a hard transition, takes years, and that's great. That's probably what a lot of our listeners want to do eventually, I would imagine. Either sell it.
I feel like you might be like a Jeff. If you're listening to this, I have met a lot of Jeffs in my life. That's my husband's name. You might be like a Jeff. And I say build it the way you want it to. If that means you want to travel, great. If that means you want to coach your kids' t-ball team, great. If that means you want to retire early, great. If that means you want to sell it and move on to the next thing, fine. But build it for you, to serve you, because you're the one with your neck out there, right? You're sticking your neck out there. You've got the skin in the game. So
that's good advice. Very good advice. Don't follow, others just because it's their life. Do what you want to do. Let's see, we've already recommended some resources and we're getting close to wrap up time. So let's see, is there a question maybe if you were in my shoes that I should have asked you that might help our home service people out there, Meaghan, since you know the numbers better than I?
Yeah. Well, I feel like this is a marketing podcast. So I feel like I want to mention the role of numbers in marketing. And one of the things I really appreciate about you, Mark, and your company and the way you have built your marketing business very intentionally is that like numbers don't lie in finances, numbers also should drive decisions when it comes to marketing.
Yeah.
And marketing, there's a lot of fun, sexy, cool things that you can do with marketing. But at the end of the day, it comes down to important numbers like lead slippage, conversion rate, right? Your cost per click or your client acquisition cost.
Right.
These are all different numbers that you can then dial in your business. So when I said at the beginning, what is the first step or the next step? Choose a number. If marketing is what you find to be really appealing right now, maybe that's a marketing number that you need to choose this week. And in 2 weeks, you can choose your next number, right? But what I like about business and when I had this mindset shift is it's a game against myself. And marketing is totally a game against yourself. Like,
right.
Getting more leads or getting better qualified leads or getting lower client acquisition costs or actually qualifying your leads so your acquisition costs are a little bit higher, understanding the lifetime value of your customer. So I just rattled off a ton of marketing metrics. And what I like about Mark is he understands them. And that's the money in marketing. It's not, you shouldn't have to throw spaghetti at the wall anymore. Like we don't have to do that anymore. Mark, if you know your numbers, they can dial it in for you and get you the results you want.
Totally agree.
And so I guess if I were you, I would just say like numbers can translate to marketing. And I love marketing based on number decisions.
Learn to love numbers.
And I don't say that lightly because I typically don't like marketing. So
learn to love numbers. They will change your business and your life.
Absolutely.
And you're right. Thank you. All the marketing numbers matter, So first, like you said, increase revenues. Then as we both discussed a little bit, get that sales process down so you're not leaking. And then after that, you need to know your costs to acquire a customer and track all your advertising. What's working, what's not. Stop spending money on things that are not working. Okay. So lastly, Meaghan, how do our listeners find you? Give us some ways they can reach out to you.
Well, my primary businesses are Likes Accounting Company. So likesaccounting.com is my main business. Then I have bookkeepingacademyonline.com. Very easy, spelled just the way it sounds, bookkeepingacademyonline.com. The place I hang out the most, kind of embarrassing to say, but I've just owned it during COVID, is Facebook. So I encourage you to join with me on Facebook from either of those platforms. Tons of free resources and information out there. I kind of became the SBA guru when all of this went down over the past year. So lots of great PVP, EIDL, California Relief Grant, lots of great information on those Facebook pages. And then I'm part of a membership partnership that is called Fight Club for Business, number 4. And it's super fun. Every week we have a guest and we talk about the 4 major areas we consider to be in business: marketing, finances, culture or people, and systems. And again, great free content every single week. So my name is Meaghan Likes, and I look forward to connecting you on the interwebs.
Thank you, Meaghan. And that was Fight the number 4 club for business?
Fight Club, the number 4 business.
Fight Club for Business. I saw one of those. In fact, I think Ellen Rohr was on there.
We didn't have Ellen, but we did have Kieran Nielsen, who I feel like is sometimes like Ellen. They think very similarly, but maybe Ellen will be a future guest. Maybe Mark will be a future guest. But we encourage you to check it out. It's definitely designed for home service business owners. So we come from different industries, providing different perspectives, and really just trying to help you fight for your business. Because let's be real, it's a fight.
Like it. Get out there and check out her podcast and her website. Get your numbers under control. It will change your life and your business, folks. Meaghan, a million thank yous. I appreciate all you do and sharing it all with our audience out here. Thank you very much. Enjoy the snowy Northern California. Stay warm.
Thank you, Mark. That was wonderful. Yeah.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Battle Plan Marketing Podcast. To power up your home service business, for show notes, visit battleplanmarketing.com/podcast. If you enjoyed our show, please share it on social. Until next time.